Okay, so we're living in this totally wild new era, right? Where AI can literally build stuff right in front of us. But here's the thing. There's a world of difference between just kind of telling an AI what you feel like making and actually engineering a fantastic result. That's the journey we're going on today. We're going to go from the magic of what people are calling vibe coding all the way to the super powerful skill of prompt engineering.
I mean, this was the dream, wasn't it? The initial promise of all this AI stuff. You just talk to your computer, say what you want, and poof, a whole app appears. It's this incredible, almost magical flow from an idea straight into code. And yeah, it got a name that just perfectly captured that feeling. And that brings us to vibe coding. Look, this wasn't just some clever buzzword people were throwing around. For a lot of developers, this was a real, honest-to-goodness experience. It was that feeling of being totally in the zone, where your ideas just seem to pour out of your head and turn into working code, you know? All without the usual roadblocks and headaches.
And a key word here is really feeling. This whole thing wasn't about detailed plans or strict outlines. Nope, it was all about intuition. You just have a casual chat with the AI, hey, build me a to-do app, and then you just sit back and watch the code spool out. It was kind of addictive, especially for whipping up quick prototypes.
And this just shows you how powerful that initial magic felt. I mean, look at this. You had tools like Pythagora building a whole complex CRM just from a chat conversation. Bold could spin up an entire e-commerce site in minutes. Lovable could create a working weather app just like that. The results were, frankly, stunning. For a hot minute, it really seemed like all the hard, tedious parts of coding were just gone. But, what happens when that magic starts to fizzle out?
Well, here's the thing. That magic was amazing, right up until it wasn't. The moment people tried to take these cool, vibe-coded projects from a flashy demo to a real-world production-ready app, that's when the whole illusion just completely shattered.
And this is really the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because look, a prototype that gets oohs and ahs from your friends is one thing. But a scalable, rock-solid application that actual paying customers rely on, that's a whole different ballgame. And it turns out that just vibes approach, it was hiding some really serious fundamental flaws.
So what went wrong? Well, for starters, the AIs were just making stuff up. They'd confidently use functions and APIs that literally didn't exist. The code they spat out, it wasn't built to last. We're talking poor structure, zero documentation, and tests. Good luck. They were either completely missing or so brittle that they'd break if you just looked at them funny. Basically, the moment you put any real pressure on this code, it would just collapse.
And listen, this wasn't just a few people having a bad day. It was a widespread feeling. A big industry report from Kodo actually put a number on it. A whopping 76% of developers said, nope, I do not trust AI code without a human looking it over. And why is that? Because even though the code looks shiny and new on the surface, fixing its hidden problems often took way more time than just building it right from the start.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The whole problem in a nutshell. Vibing is all about hoping the AI gets what you mean. It's basically a shot in the dark. And when you're building serious, important software, hope is not a strategy. We had to move away from just intuition and get to real intention. We had to be deliberate. We had to be precise.
And that shift, that leads us right to the solution. Prompt engineering. This is the next level. This is where we stop being just a hopeful user crossing our fingers and we become a skilled director. We start carefully, deliberately crafting our instructions to get exactly what we want from our new AI co-creator.
So what is prompt engineering, really? Well, to put it simply, it's not just about asking the AI a question. It's about asking it in the right way. Think of it like this. It's the difference between getting a bland, totally useless answer versus getting something that's targeted, creative, and actually solves your problem.
Okay, check out this perfect example. The before prompt is just, give me some ad copy. And what do you get? You guessed it, boring, generic lines. But now look at the after, the engineered prompt. It's specific. Write 3 creative ad copy ideas for a new eco-friendly water bottle targeted at young professionals who care about sustainability. See the difference? Suddenly the result is targeted, it's unique, and it's exactly what you asked for. That right there is the power of being precise.
So how do you do it? Well, we can actually break this down into a pretty simple framework. A really great prompt usually has 5 key ingredients. First up is persona. Who is the AI supposed to be? An expert marketer, a helpful teacher? Next, context. What's the backstory it needs to know? What's the product? Who's the audience? Then, the task. What specifically do you want it to do? Write code, draft an email?
Fourth, format. How should the output look? A bulleted list? A formal report? And finally, tone. What's the vibe? Should it be serious, playful, professional? You get these 5 things right and you're basically the master of the AI.
Okay, so once you make that leap from just vibing to actually engineering your prompts, what's really possible? Well, this is where the AI stops being just a cool party trick and becomes a genuine co-creator, and it's capable of some truly mind-blowing stuff. All right, let's put this to the test with a little showdown. In this corner, we've got 2 heavy hitters, Gemini CLI from Google and Claude Code from Anthropic. We gave them both the exact same well-engineered prompt: build a minimalistic e-commerce website. Now, these two have different styles. Gemini is all about speed. It can handle huge projects and it works fast. Claude, on the other hand, is the perfectionist. It's focused on high-quality, super clean, production-ready code. So, Gemini was a speed demon. It generated the entire site in just a couple of minutes. Claude, well, it took its sweet time. So, who came out on top? And the winner was Claude. Yeah, even though it was way slower, the quality was just on a whole other level. It didn't just spit out code. It added sophisticated styling, really smooth animations, a polished layout. It wasn't just functional, it was well designed. And this is a perfect example of how a great prompt, combined with a focus on quality, gives you a much better result in the end.
But hey, this skill isn't just for writing code. The creative possibilities here are absolutely off the charts. I mean, what if you could basically become an art director for an AI just by having a conversation with it?
Just get a load of this. Using simple, conversational prompts, Gemini was able to change the color of a dress in a photo, then it seamlessly added Elon Musk into the picture, and then it even swapped the entire background to the Taj Mahal. This is way beyond just photo editing. This is conversational creation. You can literally speak your creative vision into existence.
Okay, this is all incredibly cool stuff, no doubt. But what does it actually mean for you, for your day-to-day work? How do you take these super powerful tools and use them to go from feeling totally overwhelmed to actually making real progress? All right, let's make this real with a quick story. Let's meet Robbie. And Robbie's situation is probably going to sound familiar to a lot of us. Every single morning, he starts his day by staring at a screen that's just packed with an overwhelming number of tasks. He knows important opportunities are slipping through the cracks simply because he can't get to everything. But one day, Robbie decides enough is enough. He finds one single, repetitive task, the kind that drives you crazy, and uses a simple AI tool to automate it. And just that one small change was a game changer. Suddenly, he had more time. He could stop focusing on the tedious busy work and start thinking about the bigger picture. He went from overwhelmed to empowered. And you know what? That new efficiency actually made his whole team's collaboration better too.
And that's the real takeaway here. When you automate the little things, you get so much back. You get less stress for one. You clear up mental space so you can actually think strategically. Your team gets to focus on the important, shared goals instead of just grinding through manual tasks. And ultimately, you can build a real long-term focus for a much more sustainable and successful future.
So let's wrap up with this final thought. We've seen the whole journey, right? We've gone past the initial magic trick, we've seen the failures, and now we have the tools and the skills to be intentional. So the question for all of us isn't if AI is going to change how we work. That's a given. The real question is, how are you going to direct it? What kind of director are you going to be? How will you engineer your prompts to build something truly amazing? The future really is up to you.